If you've came up short in your life, I assumed you've clicked on this video. If you've failed many of times in your life, I'm assuming you've clicked on this video. If you're just in a situation you're not satisfied with, I'm assuming you clicked on this video. And I'm here to tell you this. The results you have gotten in your past do not really matter. What matters is how you react to those results you've gotten. How you let it dictate what actions you take now in this present moment. What those results have led you to believe in yourself in this present moment. That's what matters. We can't change our past. We all know this, right? But still we hold on to it and we let it define us. When the only thing we really have is this present moment. That is all we have. And the good news about that is you can make the decision, no matter how daunting or how scary, even how doubtful you feel about yourself, you can make the decision to think and take action in a more efficient way. And you can use your past as learning lessons. Because failure, like I've said in the past, in my past videos, failure is just a learning lesson. I don't think failure is the opposite of success. I think failure is a key component to success. I believe all the successful people we see have failed way more than us. I guarantee it's not even a belief, I guarantee it. I guarantee it. I've already talked about this in the past. Go watch that video. But it is how we choose to look at these results that we got in the past. You can either look at them and let them define you as a failure, as a loser, that you can't achieve anything, which you have put that definition on yourself. No one else has. You have chosen to believe it, whether you like it or not. There is a silent voice in your head that is telling you these doubtful thoughts that you can't do it, and you have silently agreed to it. But the good news is that you have control over how you react to that voice. That voice might be there for a while, it might be persistent. But if you choose to not believe it, to let it define you, if you choose to have faith, then you can become a brand new person. Because we are kind of like a video game character. I think a lot of us, when we aren't aware of our thoughts, it's like imagine you're playing a video game, right? And you're the character in the video game. And when you can't identify your thoughts and interact with your thoughts and understand where they're coming from and gather information from your thoughts, you're kind of the character in the video game being controlled. That character has no free will. That character is being controlled by someone outside of the screen with the controller. And in life, we are that person with the controller. We choose what thoughts we want to believe in. Once you really gain this self-awareness, once you really gain this relationship with yourself, you realize you're not the character. You're the one holding the controller. You choose what actions you want to take. You choose the thoughts you want to believe in. You choose where you want to go to in life. No matter your environment, at the end of the day, you have the choice to better your life. The faster you realize that the reason you are where you are in life is because of you, you're the problem, you could say, in your life. You have given yourself these results that you're unsatisfied with. You realize once you're the problem, the root of all your situations, you realize that if you're the problem, you are the only solution to make your life better. You are the only solution. Everything you have is already inside of you. Everything you have. I'm not saying if you want to start a business and you don't know what running a successful business is like, that you have all this information already in your head and it's easy. But no, you can now take the effort to learn. You can choose to learn. You can choose to apply action. You can choose to silence these doubtful thoughts. You have the choice. That's why I say the past does not define you. It doesn't. You choose to let it define you. I guarantee it. I guarantee you choose to let it define you. Because the past, all the failures, it is not happening in this present moment. You can't go back to that time. So why is it dictating your life still? And when I say dictate, it's not really a loud voice. You don't sit down in your room and say, I'm a failure. I'm not going to take action. I'm not doing. No, that's not how it is. It is a subconscious voice in your head. It is a very silent voice that determines where you go in life. And once you can identify this voice and build a better relationship with it, that is when you realize you are the person with the controller in your hand. That is the controller, that little voice in your head. That's what dictates your life. That's why you've heard you are not your thoughts. That is 100% true. All the thoughts in our head, we can't control them. We can't. Right now I could say banana yogurt, and you thought of banana yogurt. You just did. You can't control your thoughts. There's this quote I love. It says, you can't control your first thought, but you can control your second. Which means you can't control your random sporadic thoughts, but you can control how you react to them. And if you don't believe me, if you think that all these doubtful voices and all these voices in your head are true, are you? I'm going to ask you something. Have you ever been in a car and you just have the impulsive thought to throw out your phone? In that moment, if these are truly your thoughts, then you would throw out your phone. Because that thought is in your head. But no, because our identity, we repeat to ourselves subconsciously that we like our phone. Our phone's valuable to us. It gives us entertainment. We want to keep our phone. That's the thought pattern that we have repeated, so our brain identifies with that. But if you think you're your doubtful thoughts, then in this scenario, you should throw out your phone. You don't like your phone because you had the thought that you want to throw it out the car. You get what I'm saying? So that's just kind of an example of how we are not our thoughts. We're not our thoughts. So next time you hear these doubtful thoughts, negative thoughts, any sort of thoughts that aren't conducive to where you want to go in life, understand that those thoughts, understand the root of them, understand where they came from, understand how they're making you feel, understand how that limiting belief, that doubtful thought, that negative thought is affecting your present moment, how it is keeping you back, how it is holding you back from taking action. Talk to that thought, and that's where you kind of take on that role as the person with the controller in your hand, when you can do that. And once you kind of realize and really become comfortable having the controller in your hand, now this character, you can do exactly what you want with this character. I guarantee it. But it's a practice, and you gotta be graceful, because this isn't an easy thing to do. It's not smooth. You're gonna be confused. You gotta be graceful. You gotta be patient. You gotta have faith, because things aren't gonna change in a day. That's just, things aren't gonna change in a day. But in a month, in several months, in years, once you realize that you can control how you react to these thoughts, and how the past doesn't define you, and how you can take action now on what you want to do in life, months and years, and you'll be in a different you'll be in a better part of life, So that's why I've say today, like, comment, share, subscribe, do all that. Thank you.